My name is Curtis. I'm the managing director for Kraken, one of the largest and oldest cryptocurrency exchanges. We were founded 10 years ago. We couldn't be more excited to be here at Money 2020.
Likewise. So your background is with the FBI, right?
Yeah, prior to Kraken, which I joined 4 years ago, I spent just about 10 years at the FBI. Crypto was just starting to become a thing as part of the awareness of law enforcement. It's been interesting to see how it's changed over time.
Yeah, how has it changed, particularly financial crime, cybercrime? How has it evolved? How has it changed?
You know, with new technology, it's almost always the criminals who try it first, and it's usually the smart criminals who do it. We used to see a lot of this predominantly experimenting in counterterrorism, counterintelligence investigations, not so much conventional crime. That was still, and today continues to be more cash reliant. But that has changed for sure. Today, I think the vast majority of crypto-related crime has more to do with fraud, online fraud, than anything else. And that's really just the dumb criminals at this point who are utilizing crypto.
Is there mass adoption of crypto amongst criminals, or is it still quite a niche thing within the criminal sector? Like, do you see it being utilized in lots of different ways, or just mainly through fraud?
I think with the onset of mainstream adoption, the awareness of people into the potential for crypto, you're definitely seeing criminals trying to exploit that. In particular, it is quite easy these days to pretend to be an investment firm and end up defrauding folks who don't know or just simply not equipped to understand the risks. It's really important for the industry to be aware of this.
So how do you see the overlap between the FBI and what you're doing now? And how do you tackle financial crime and cybercrime? Do you do it in similar ways to the FBI, or are there things you can put in place before it gets to a criminal activity?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's maybe three thoughts to that. The first is coordination with law enforcement is necessary as the industry becomes increasingly regulated. Certainly, over a quarter of Kraken's personnel are doing some kind of compliance operation in some fashion or another, whether it's our anti-fraud teams, or it's our compliance operations teams, or it's even our frontline customer service teams. It's really important for us to be responsive if law enforcement serves due process. Probably the second thing is recognizing that law enforcement is still looking to resource this themselves. It's expensive and complicated to develop the types of investigators who can, at a sophisticated and scalable level, tackle these challenges. And so there is room to coordinate and to communicate with law enforcement. But I think at the end of the day, law enforcement can simply not be expected to tackle, especially with the onset of fraud, all of the cases that could arise. There is a core responsibility by exchanges to help prevent fraud in its most basic or even its most simple form relative to clients. It is important for us to play a part in educating and protecting clients.
So you're still doing a bit of your old job nowadays?
A little bit.
Okay. Who are the main actors? Who are the big bads perpetuating these sorts of financial crimes? Like, is there a certain type, or do they come from a certain place or certain backgrounds or something like that?
You know, there's a lot of non-state actors these days that are primarily, exploiting cryptocurrency, whether it's in the form of ransomware schemes or in the form of fraud schemes. Some very sophisticated international crime organizations that take advantage of crypto and its potential.
Yeah. What features of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies make it hard for criminals to commit crime in that space, and what features of crypto make it easy for them to commit?
Yeah, what makes crypto attractive for criminals? I think first and foremost, and this is part of the core value proposition of crypto, is that it is borderless. And it is, in theory anyway, easy to move from point A to point B. I think the flip side of the coin, though, and this has been borne out in both academic research, law enforcement research, and even experience in the industry, that you may be able to move value from point A to point B more quickly, but you are not going to be able to move value from point A to point B more stealthily. I think the immutability and the ledger-based properties of blockchain systems today, in the context of crypto, do provide an Achilles heel that law enforcement and industry are able to attack when we're trying to battle fraud and ransomware attacks.
So it's almost got some anti-crime capabilities built into it because of the ledger technology. The transactions are all recorded, and therefore, if you are moving money from one point to another point, that's obviously somewhere being recorded, right?
Yep, I think criminals understand trade-offs as well as you and I, and it's interesting to see who still uses crypto, considering its downsides.
Yeah. What are some of the novel or unusual ways people are protecting their digital assets, and conversely, how are criminals still getting their hands on them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's increasingly proper education on how to custody your own crypto assets. Wonderful innovations, MetaMask, as well as offline cold wallet providers make it possible for people to actually safeguard crypto for the first time and keep it on their own terms. I think part of the challenge of that, of course, is people are not used to being their own banks, and so they do default to platforms, and that's really how criminals are still getting at people's value that's held online, is not by hacking a platform, but by hacking a person's profile on a platform. And so it's important for there to be multiple layers of authentication and verification that are part of someone's security setup on any platform that they're transacting on.
Yep, great. And lastly, which country or countries do you see leading the pack when it comes to national efforts to combat financial crime, particularly, obviously, in the cyberspace area?
Yeah. I think just leaning on my historical experience with law enforcement, I really couldn't call out a particular country. This really is a multinational effort. This is very much an effort that requires, given the borderless characteristics of cryptocurrency, a multinational approach. I'm very encouraged to see some of the work that's being done by EC3, some of the European, British, and American law enforcement networks. It really is good to see progress in this area.
Very diplomatic answer. Thank you. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Curtis.